And we're back. You already know that the Zika virus is spreading all across this country of ours. And our guest today is Larry Bergner. Larry is the regional director for Rogers County's health department. I'm assuming that means other counties as well.
Exactly. I have 4 counties that I cover: Rogers, Washington, Osage, and Nowata.
And you still have your hair.
Sometimes. I patch it on every morning.
Well, we're grateful for you to come in and visit with us.
Thank you for having me.
This Zika thing just came out of nowhere. Is this a brand new virus? I mean, I've never heard of this.
Right. Actually not. It was first discovered in 1947
Really?
in the Zika forest of Uganda, primarily in African countries and Asian countries. But not until May of 2015 did an outbreak happen in South America, in Brazil. And so since that time, we've heard it in the news because it has exploded in South and Central America.
Now it's here. It's in this country. And the big question is, should Oklahomans be worried?
Not worried or panicked, but concerned. And the virus, we have currently 35 cases in the United States. All of the cases were from people who had traveled to South and Central America. So the virus is not in mosquitoes in America yet. All of the cases have been from travelers from those regions in South and Central America. So the concern would be primarily women who would want to become pregnant or who are pregnant. If they intend to travel to South and Central America, they need to take precautions.
What can they do? Stay home?
The CDC recommends that they stay home, that they postpone their travel plans to that region until this illness is under control.
Sure. Have they any sort of a medication for it? Is there any kind of a vaccine?
No vaccine, no medication. The symptoms are very mild, not requiring hospitalization in most cases. Fever, rash, red bloodshot eyes, joint pain. That sounds like many illnesses.
Sounds like me this morning.
Exactly. But the key is, if you have traveled to South or Central America, come back to the United States and then have those symptoms within 2 weeks of traveling, then you need to see your primary care physician. Remedies would be just treat the symptoms. Acetaminophen or Tylenol for fever, pain, plenty of rest, and plenty of fluids.
Let me play devil's advocate for just a moment if I could. I work in the yard a lot. You know, I play with the grass because one never whips the grass in one's yard. I worked with the flowers, and it seems as though about a month into summer, mosquitoes launch an all-out attack on me. And I was in a shop recently where the fellow said, "Sam, knowing how bugs and critters like to gnaw on you, this might be the year that you spray your yard with one of those hand sprayers about every 8 or 9 days." Should I take other precautions?
We recommend,
I put on the spray on myself.
Right.
But he's talking about spraying the bushes in the yard.
Right. Those things that you do on yourself, spraying DEET or EPA approved insecticides would work fine. However, spraying your yard, you have to hit the mosquito, which is a problem with the spray.
Really?
If the spray doesn't hit the mosquito, the spray does no good. We recommend the briquettes, which is, they're called Dunkets or briquettes, mosquito larvicide, and they look like a small donut. You can break it off, put it in standing water, and that will kill the larvicide of the mosquito.
All right, now, as I water my bushes, in the hot part of the summer, we get into the dog days, there's quite a bit of moisture under these bushes, but it isn't pooled. Should I put a small container under there with the little donuts in them?
You could if it's standing water, and that's the concern is with standing water. If you have old tires, the dog's water dish, anything that would have standing water, that's where you want to change those out, keep them dry, maybe put a Dunket in areas of standing water. If we have a rainy season this spring, early summer, bar ditches, areas of the yard that hold standing water, ponds that have fish and habitat in them, the fish will eat the larva. So ponds are not an issue. It's that standing water after a hard rain that we get the raining season and those areas just don't disappear. then you might want to use a briquette.
I have bird baths, and I'm assuming that's a problem because if I put a briquette in there, I'll kill the birds. Is that right?
I don't think that they will hurt other animals.
Really?
They're specific to the mosquito larva, so I think you'd be fine. One briquette will handle 2,000 square foot of area, so you only need a very small piece of the briquette in a bird bath.
Where
for
do I get
example.
them?
You can get them at your local farm and ranch store, your local hardware store usually will have those.
All right, I'm going to keep that in mind because quite frankly, it's war at my house.
It always is. Every summer we deal with the mosquitoes. Now the good news is that the mosquito in Oklahoma, we usually deal with West Nile virus. That mosquito usually comes out in late summer, or usually August, late July, early August is when we start to see that mosquito. Now with the Zika virus, the mosquito that causes the Zika virus, we currently don't have that mosquito in Oklahoma. They're usually found in the Gulf states, from Florida to Texas. But of course, with the warmer weather, they might migrate north, so we need to keep an eye on it.
But Larry, the news folk are saying that now it's transmittable through sexual relations, blood transfusions. I mean, these little mosquitoes are doing some serious damage just by carrying the virus in and biting someone.
Exactly, and that's the problem. People that want to become pregnant, for instance, in Dallas, Texas, there was a male who had traveled to South and Central America, came back, and then got his wife, we're going to have a baby, and he transmitted the virus to his wife. So in those cases where the partner, specifically the male, if they have been to South and Central America and then come back, if the family intends to get pregnant and have a baby, CDC and other health organizations recommends at least 30 days to wait, and for at least 30 days to make sure that that virus is out of the male system.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Is there an incubation period following a bite?
Exactly. 2 to 12 days incubation period. Onset of illness usually occurs within day 2 to day 7. When the symptoms start, the virus is in the blood stream of the individual for about 7 days. So for the female, if the female becomes sick and the virus is in the blood for about 7 days, once the female starts to feel better, the blood has been cleared of the virus, then if the female becomes pregnant, there's not a problem.
Boy, I got to tell you, it's been a while since I've seen the World Health Organization all of a sudden just explode into action the way I have this time. And, you know, just a few days ago, we had some American Olympians say, you know what, I'm not sure if I'm going to Rio or not, and with good measure.
Something to be concerned about for sure. And with that many people congregating in one location, it could wreak havoc on people's health worldwide. So CDC and others recommend if you're going to that region, take precaution against mosquito bites, maybe even sleeping under a mosquito-proof tent at night, wearing heavy clothing, using the insecticides, the sprays with DEET, and especially though, if you have a wife or intend to have a family, you want to be very careful about the mosquito bites.
So just take, in other words, a common sense approach.
Exactly.
Well, are you getting many calls?
Not yet. I'm sure we will as we get more into summer and as this virus expands possibly to North America, into the United States. Like I said, we already have 35 cases, all from travelers, several in Texas, so we're getting close to Oklahoma. So I expect that we'll be getting more and more calls.
So you really expect an expansion of the danger zone?
We do. We expect an expansion of it. One other issue, if you have been bitten by a mosquito and are infected, a traveler again from that region to come back, then protect yourself from mosquito bites, because the mosquito bite, once the virus is in your blood and the mosquito bites you, now the mosquito is infected and the mosquito goes to another person and infects the other person.
So you become a host.
So you become a host. So we would want you to protect yourself against mosquito bites at least for the 14 days or so while that virus clears your system.
Larry, thank you. We're very grateful for you coming in to see us. And if this thing starts to explode in Oklahoma, don't be surprised if we don't call you back.
There's also information on our Oklahoma State Department of Health website. at health.ok.gov.
You heard the man. That's all the time we have for this edition of Perspectives. We'll see you next time.